On Saturday, for the first time in American history, a vicious, heartless president is cutting off food stamps to hungry children, elderly who can't afford enough food to feed themselves, veterans who are down on their luck, all because he wants to use them as hostages so that Democrats will stop fighting for people's health care. We can do both: provide better health care and provide SNAP benefits to the tens of millions who need it. This president is a liar. He says there's no money to provide food stamps because of the shutdown. That's His own agriculture department said there's plenty of money. Every president during shutdowns has provided the money that's needed, even Trump in his first term. He is bludgeoning the American people, using the most innocent of victims to try and go along with his cruel shutdown, which takes away health care from millions of Americans. He is the most vindictive politician America has ever seen, and the most heartless man America has ever seen in the presidency. We're fighting him every step of the way.
When they say that it's the Republicans' fault, or somehow the Republicans are responsible for shutting the government down, it really defies facts. It defies history. It defies reality. Because as everybody who's been around here knows, we have now voted 13 times. 13 times on that bill sitting at the desk that would open up the government, put everybody back to work, and all the pain that is being caused by the American people would go away. 13 times we've had that vote. Democrat leadership here, just in the last few days since the government actually shut down, that of course is the Democrat leader, Senator Schumer, who said every day gets better for us, commenting about the government shutdown. And my simple observation is, better for who? For you? Because you think you're winning politically? What about the air traffic controllers? What about the TSA agents? What about the American troops? What about our Border Patrol agents? What about the people who work in this building? What about the 40 million Americans that are going to not get SNAP benefits starting on Saturday if the government doesn't open up? But every day gets better, according to Senator Schumer.
Polling expert Harry Enton had more bad news for their lefty losing it audience.
You might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at.
Yes, Republicans and independents are not blaming the Republicans for Schumer's shutdown. That's good news for the midterms for some.
It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this, among independents, it's up 8 points as well. So we've got a situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right?
Yes, the math is mathing, but what is the shutdown doing to the Democrats' chances at the midterms?
So how do Democrats, how are they positioned right now?
Yeah, so, I mean, look, the generic congressional ballot, which traditionally Democrats have done really well on, and if you look at this point back when Trump was president the first time around, Democrats are up 11 points. Look at where it is now. Democrats are ahead, but they're actually only up 3 points. This is, in fact, the worst position Democrats have been on in a generic ballot at this point in midterm when there was a Republican president in the last 20 years. And this is no different from pre-shutdown. So Republicans aren't losing on this metric either. They become more popular, and they're actually in a pretty good position for them historically when it comes to the generic congressional ballot.
This is a concerning number for Democrats, are you saying?
This is a concerning number for Democrats because it's considerably worse than they traditionally do in midterm elections when there's a Republican president.
Harriet.
Oh dear. Let's bring in documentary filmmaker and commentator Ami Horowitz. Ami, the shutdown isn't hurting Trump, not with the base, and just as importantly, it's not hurting him with independents.
No, it's not. In fact, the Democratic brand is so low that they're actually bucking history. Historically, the government in charge is always blamed for the shutdown, but that's not the case here. This is, I mean, what do you want? The Democrats have voted 13 times to keep the government shut down. And frankly, look, you listen to Chuck Schumer and what he's saying when he's decrying the shutdown. What does he point to as a problem? He points to Trump helping out Milei in Argentina. Really, that's a problem? Milei is reshaping the Argentinian economy into a free market economy for the first time as a light to the entire region that they will follow. That's a problem? He talked about Trump dancing in Malaysia. Yeah, he was in Malaysia cutting deals left and right. He was in Asia brokering a peace deal between Thailand and Cambodia that is 100 years old. That's an older conflict than Israel and the Palestinians. Yeah, that's what he's doing, and that's what the Democrats are decrying as a problem with this shutdown. And by the way, the coalition of the Democratic Party, which has been strong so far, is now fraying. There's a federal union that is now telling the Democrats, you guys better stop this soon. This is being a problem for us. And at the end of the next week, 41 million people will stop receiving food SNAP benefits, which is food stamp benefits. By the way, 41 million people on food stamps, that in of itself is a massive problem. That's where we stand right now, Rita.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a problem. I think that's something that deserves a national discussion. I mean, there's something very sick in the country when you've got that many people dependent on food stamps to feed their families.